Before we begin, just a few gentle reminders. For everyone that is joining us in person or via the YouTube Live, let's keep this session professional, respectful, and inclusive. So please refrain from raising sensitive or personal topics. To cover how the debate will take place, we will first start with an opening statement by the candidates, followed by the structured debate segment between the existing office bearer and the candidate. And then we will conclude with the live Q&A from you, the audience, or the YouTube Live, with the closing remarks by candidates. Okay, so now I'd like to pass the time to the candidate for the opening remarks.
Okay, thank you everyone for the chance for me to speak here. Good evening everyone, my name is Kayan and I'm a second year computer science and data science student here at School of IT, and I'm running for MUISS Secretary with the Equitas team. As an international student myself, I understand the challenges we face, such as adapting to new cultures and ensuring our voices are heard within the community. I want to help bridge these gaps and make MUISS a more connected and supportive environment for all. I pride myself on being a fast learner, someone who adapts quickly to new situations, and someone who works well under pressure, skills I believe that will be valuable in this role. I've been involved in secretarial roles since high school, including as the secretary of PPI, which is the Indonesian community here in Monash University. And I've also served as secretary that's in charge for MUISS events like MCN. This includes sending emails and also sponsorship matters. These roles have given me the skills to stay organized, manage effective communications within teams, and quickly adapt to the demands of any situations, even under pressure. As MUISS Secretary, I have three main goals. The first one is to keep everyone connected. Effective communication is essential in any organization. I'll ensure that information flows seamlessly between teams and that everyone stays updated on important decisions and events. This will help us stay aligned and work together more efficiently. The second one is to stay organized and on track. I will keep every meeting minutes and updates clearly recorded and easily accessible for everyone. This ensures that no one misses important information and reduces the chances of miscommunications so we can stay focused and productive. Number three is to give students a voice. I want to make sure that every international students feel heard. And I'll introduce feedback forms after every event to gather students' opinion, and this feedback will directly influence future programs, ensuring that we're always improving and meeting the needs of our community. In conclusion, I'm committed to creating a more connected, organized, and inclusive MUISS. With my fast learning ability, adaptability, and ability to work well under pressure, I'm confident I can help make MUISS an even better place for all students. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So now I'd like to hand it over to Pharrell, the existing office bearer that will be leading the structured debate segment.
Test. Am I audible? All right. Thank you, Kayan, for that introduction. So let's get straight to the questions. So you mentioned that you are willing and wanting to make a feedback system based on MUISS after every event. So I'm sure you are aware of this, that we also have that feedback system in the terms of Google Form after every event. However, one problem that has consistently been showing up throughout the year is the lack of people filling it up, because perhaps there's a couple of issues that has been unaddressed, or maybe it's not accessible enough. So how would you, as the MUISS Secretary, make sure that these forms that are gathered for feedback for all events, not even only events, but also initiatives and also general feedbacks for MUISS, would be more accessible to others, and also people become more aware of such forms?
Okay, so I think for the matter of getting people to be engaged to fill out the forms, right? We have to make it as engaging as possible. Maybe we could give some rewards. For example, if we notice the, I'm not sure what it's called, but it's the early semester feedback forms that Monash also gives. They will give some reward for everyone who's lucky enough to get some MacBooks or iPads and something like that. Maybe MUISS can also do that with maybe smaller budgets and stuff like that. I'm sure that people will be more engaged to fill out those feedback forms. And then also maybe after every event, instead of sending emails, maybe people don't really look at emails nowadays, right? So just straight away put QR codes of the Google form and something like that after the events, and make sure that everyone fills the form before they leave or something like that. By that, we can ensure that we can get the most feedbacks from everyone that's joining the event.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Thank you for that. I don't think we can give away a MacBook or an iPad, but I like the reward system. So moving on to my next question, this is regarding your manifesto. So in Manifesto 1, you have mentioned that you want to ensure a smooth and consistent communication. Is there any specific platform or system in mind that you would like to use to make that happen across all divisions, country representatives, and also committees?
Okay, so I think most of us, I mean, almost all of us use WhatsApp as like our main platform for communications, right? So maybe we can introduce like WhatsApp community, which is like very common to use right now. It's something that we can put all of the divisions inside one community and also have one big group general for like announcement and stuff. So maybe any updates or informations that like all divisions needs to know, we can like post it on the announcement page, so that makes sure everyone's can stay updated for that.
All right, that's good. So an update, just to inform you as well, we actually have a WhatsApp community, two in fact, and one per event as well. So Monash Cultural Night have its own WhatsApp community as well, and then MUISS in general have a WhatsApp community, plus MUISS events have a WhatsApp community too. However, the problem with these WhatsApp communities tend to arise from the fact that there are too many groups, in fact, and there are also cross groups that perhaps an example I can give you is MCN. They have a documentation group filled with all media members. Then we also have a media group in general. So then the communication gets confused between one of two. So how would you ensure, let's say, in a simple sense, make sure that all important announcements are given to everyone so that they will know? And how would you implement this system regarding the WhatsApp community or perhaps any other system that you would like to improve on based on this year?
Okay, so I think it's pretty simple. I'm not gonna make it like really complicated. So to make sure that everyone are aware of what we're announcing, just do like a simple give reactions first, like the announcement that you give. Like if they don't really give any response or like reactions like from the WhatsApp thing, we can just like directly ask them whether like do you know that we have this kind of updates, and like are you aware of the situation, something like that.
Yeah, that's good. One thing to keep in mind as well is you can also work with the heads as well to always announce these announcements, so you're not alone in this. So that's good. So continuing on, I want to ask a question about your third manifesto. So you mentioned creating simple and direct channels for feedbacks and suggestions. So could you explain in detail what would that feedback system look like in practice, not in the form of the Google form, perhaps, or maybe it is in the form of the Google form, but make it more detailed? And how would you manage it consistently throughout your term? Because our term is over a year. So how would you do that?
Okay, so I think for feedback forms, it's mostly we have like the same format, right, for each events. Like maybe we can ask something about like how do you feel about the event? Like is it like you can give like ratings from 1 to 5 for like each aspects. For example, if we give out foods, we can ask like how's the food? How do you taste the food? Or how engaging is like the games and stuff? Is it boring or stuff like that? Yeah, I think it's we have like we will make like main structure of the form itself, but like it will be like adapted according to like what events are we doing at that moment.
Okay, that's great. That is very good for event management. Now I want to ask regarding another aspect of MUISS, because one thing about MUISS is that we are always connected with the staff and also the higher ups of Monash. And we also are connected with the personnel such as the Pro Vice Chancellor and also the President of Monash Australia, which we have met before. The one question that always pops up is, what are the main concerns of international students? And one issue that we always face is we don't know, because we've never collected besides for the event management part. So how would you, not only in events, but also in general, let's say feedbacks, concerns, worries, and also any concerns regarding their education or academics that you would be able to collect without touching on sensitive topics and be able to present it to the higher ups such as Pro Vice Chancellor, in which it is constantly being asked on what are the concerns of these international students that we can help fix.
Okay, so since I think most of us use social medias like Instagram and something like that, and I think for most of us, they'll be quite active in terms of like posting on social medias and stuff like that. So maybe we can like give out NGL links if you ever heard of that. It's like a platform where you can like post something anonymous. Maybe they will be more comfortable on sharing that without like giving their informations like about their personal information and something like that. And from that, maybe we can collect what are the main issues that international students face.
Yep, that's good. That's a good answer. Now, I want to ask a follow-up to that. Now, let's say if we have received a piece of feedback that directly criticizes MUISS, operations, or an event, how would you respond to it professionally while also maintaining MUISS credibility?
Okay, so I think criticisms is normal, and I think it's like the way for us to even improve better. But if it gets too harsh or something like that, maybe we can like see whether the concern is really what we're facing, or like it's just like hate speech or something like that. If the matter is like, if the critics is really related to like what are we doing right now, and like we can agree that we also did something wrong with that, then maybe you should just improve and like say thank you for your criticisms, and like we'll ensure that we will be better and we'll improve. But if it's like just like hate speech, I think we can just like ignore and like just do whatever we want to do, because like I think as a committee itself, we also want to provide the best events or like best solutions for like all of us, especially international students, right? So when it comes to someone that are like particular parties that like just hates us for like just being who we are, we can just like ignore it.
Right, thank you for that. Now I want to ask a case-based answer. So let's say it is a busy week during an event week. Let's say it's a pretty big event. And the executive team is constantly updating plans, changing timelines, tasks, and logistics, sometimes even last minute. However, these updates aren't reaching the subcommittee members on time. So it causes a lot of confusion and overlapping work. Now, as the MUISS Secretary, how would you ensure clear, inclusive communication between the office bearers and subcommittee members, especially in a fast-paced, high-pressure period, without overwhelming either side, knowing that you have a deadline in mind?
Okay, so I think as a secretary, I have to make sure that everything stays organized and like well understood by like all of the committee. So if let's say we're having like events in like a week, and then like it's going very fast, like everything is just like moving so fast and things like that, maybe I can give a daily update towards the community, like give out like per points. For example, like for engagement, what are the points that they updated during today, and like something per division, something like that. I think that kind of like make the subcommittees or like even other divisions will be like more understand about like what are the updates that we have for today, because like if it's just like random chats and something like that, it will be like harder for them to gather information and like that, right? So in that case, me as a secretary, I will just like put out bullet points and something like that about like the updates per day for each divisions. I think that would be easier for them to understand.
All right, that's good to hear. Now, keeping that in mind as well, that is a good initiative that we have implemented before. That is called the department agendas, and this is something that we implemented with the other OBs. However, the problem with that is most of the time only one division was active, the rest was not active, in which we had to constantly remind these other OBs to fill it up, but eventually they didn't. And now the form or the sheet itself is not in use. So how would you able to keep up with that type of system, knowing that we've tried doing this in the past but failed, and also ensuring that you're not going to overwork yourself, because updating daily is also a very heavy duty itself?
Well, in that case, maybe we can just like constantly remind them first. But if it's just like don't work out that way, we can give slightly like warnings to them, because like just want to make sure that everyone's on the same page. We want to make this event successful, so like we'll just give like slight warning to them, so to make sure that they did their job properly, because like everyone's doing the same thing, and like everyone's also busy, so like just have to be more understandable towards like other committees. And if that still doesn't work, then that means I have to step in as someone that helps them to like give the updates. So it's just like directly ask them what updates you have for today. I will just like manually fill it in myself.
All right, that's good. But please don't overwork yourself, as you have subcommittees as well. They can definitely help you in that. But yeah, that's a good answer. Now, and moving on to the next question. As MUISS Secretary, you're responsible for drafting post-event reports after every event to be submitted to the MUSA General Secretary and President. Now, these reports are meant to provide a streamlined feedback process to ensure all concerns are properly communicated to MUSA and Monash Student Life. Now, these communities also need to send these reports to you so you can cross-check and to check their submission as well. However, in our past term, this past year, these reports often end up being treated as mere formalities because they think it's only written quickly and rarely revisited, and they can just brush it off. Now, how would you make the post-event reports, or PER in short, more useful, actionable, and reflective of real feedback rather than just another administrative task for these communities and also MUISS events?
Okay, so I think PR is one of the ways for the communities to like communicate to MUISS in order for them to like give feedbacks to our as MUISS itself, right? So if they just like don't really treat that as something that's really important, then maybe we can just make sure that there are some things that they don't get if like they don't fill out this PER. So like for example, if they don't give PER, they won't be able to like get budgets or stuff or something like that for their next events, or like they will get some like slight consequences for not doing the PR. And I think if we implement that kind of thing, they will do the PR like not just like as a formality, but they will also do it. How do you say it? Like they will do it like seriously, and like they will give actual feedbacks for us, right? So I think yeah, it works like that.
All right, so just to confirm, you would like to establish a consequence system for these committees not to fill it up. However, in the past as well, we have tried to implement, not in the PER system, but something of a consequence system for these communities. And one thing that always pops up is the fact that they are people who always loves to complain, who always loves to have something against us. So how would you manage these, if not criticism, rough, let's say, words that they're dissatisfied with the system, and how would you ensure transparency, honesty, but also efficiency is delivered using the system?
Okay, so for that case, I think we will just like give proper explanations on like why is this important for that. I mean, I'm sure that even if they really like don't like how this MUISS system is working right now, but if we give them like proper explanations and like how is this important for both of us, I think they will like agree at some point, and like maybe we will find our middle ground on like where it works best for like both of us.
All right, thank you for that. Now I want to move on to the next question. So as MUISS Secretary, you'll also automatically be a part of the MUSA Election Committee, which involves assisting in the blueprint of the annual and by-elections. Now, how would you manage your time between ongoing MUISS duties and your responsibilities in the election committee? And if you don't plan to fully participate in the committee, is it because you intend to run in the elections yourself, or how come?
Okay, so I think as I said before, I'm the type of person that can like manage my works quite well. So even right now I'm still doing my task as PPI, and also like running as MUISS Secretary, and also have other organizations outside Monash, right? And I'm sure I can handle that very well. So in terms of like if I want to do the election committee, take part as the election committee, also still doing my stuff as MUISS Secretary, I don't think there should be a problem, because like I have my priority task where I can just like put what things that I have to finish first, and then what things is not really important for the rest of my task, something like that.
All right, that's good. Now I want to go to a specific scenario because you and me, we've actually been part of PPI before, correct? Now, one thing to keep in mind, I'll give you a bit of a background. So PPI uses a master file system, correct? I've also implemented that this year for MUISS. However, as this is the first year that we've implemented a master file, there have been constant delays, constant problems that have arisen from this system, such as deadlines being passed, or because we have no PIC system, the OBs sometimes being overworked, or the subcommittees not having direct access to these master files because, let's say, some info is only for the office bearers to know. So how would you improve upon this master file system, or are you implementing to, let's say, have another centralized system that can be accessed for all MUIS?
I think I really like the idea of master file because, like, as a PPI member myself, I think it's very helpful for all of the committees. And yeah, I think it's not like we haven't heard any complaints about the master file system, and maybe it doesn't really work for MUIS because it's like it's a new thing that you just implemented, right? So maybe they're just not familiar with it. In that case, maybe we can give trainings for the OBs and stuff to make sure that they know what they should be doing for this master file and stuff, and just like keep constantly reminding them about like what they should do and like give just really guide them throughout this whole event planning stuff to make sure that the master file is really useful and can be like accessible to everyone.
Yeah, that's great. I like that answer. So now I'm going to move on to a more generalized question. So as the main PIC for subcommittee recruitment, how would you ensure a fair and unbiased selection process will ongo for your MUIS subcommittee recruitment?
Okay, so even if I'm the PIC, I'm not in charge for like choosing the subcommittees for other divisions, right? But in that case, if let's say my friends joining the MUIS as well, I'll have like second or third opinions in that case. So make to ensure that I don't have a biased opinion towards my friend or something like that. And I think it's also can be applicable to other divisions as well. So for example, the OB have a friend, they also want to join the MUIS as a subcom. Maybe we can ask for like second or third opinion from other people that don't really know that person. So in order for that to not be biased and something like that.
Okay, a follow-up question to that. What criteria would you follow when it comes to who gets recruited into the team during the recruitment process? And what criteria will you uphold for the other divisions to keep in mind as well?
Okay, for secretary, I think I'm looking for someone with a good time and work management because, like as you mentioned before, I think being a secretary can be overwhelming sometimes because we have to manage a lot of stuff, organizing a lot of things. So someone with like work and time management is a good work and time management is good, and also I think someone that's responsible and also good communication skills. So, since like secretary is the bridge between international students and also MUIS, and also like for each committees and divisions, they will talk through everything towards secretary, right? So I just have to make sure that they have good communication skills and they can have good like problem solving skills.
All right, that's good. Now, I have another question in mind. So, as the secretary, you're also responsible for arranging general meetings of MUIS. So, how would you handle situations where members repeatedly fail to attend without notice, as these general meetings are very important for all of MUIS to attend, not only subcommittees, but also OBs and also country representatives?
Okay, if they don't give any prior notice before, maybe I'll ask them after the meetings, like what kind of concerns that you have, what kind of problems that you have, so you cannot attend this very important general meeting. If they're being unreasonable or like they just give lame excuses that can't be acceptable for us, then maybe we will consider something like maybe give warning letters.
All right, thank you. Now, follow-up question to that. Let's say a scenario in which a team member refuses to acknowledge an official warning letter you issued, claiming because there might be a bit of bias in that letter. How would you handle the situation professionally and uphold transparency in the process?
Okay, if they just like tell us that we're being biased, maybe we can give real proof about like what they did, like why do we give you warning letters and something like that. There must be like a specific and clear reasoning why we want to give that warning letters to that person, right? So maybe we can just give the proof and like the explanations on why like they received this without being biased.
All right. A follow-up question to that as well. As you may know, a warning letter is in MUISS in itself can only be issued by the secretary. However, sometimes office bearers tend to have their own reason to believe that, oh, these are my subcommittees. Perhaps I can have some sort of power to uh, at least inform them that I might be giving a warning letter. How would you have that transparency and also be strict to tell these office bearers like the system only upholds for secretary to send, and how would you establish a criteria or also open communication between office bearers to know that you cannot do this, but also explain the reason why as it is in the constitution?
If it's being stated clearly in the constitutions, then like I think it's quite self-explanatory, right? So like they don't have the right to do it except me as the secretary. But maybe if they have their own reasonings on like they want to do that, we can do a discussion, and like maybe it will ensure me or like influence me more on like why they want to do this kind of thing, and then I will be the one that deciding what's gonna be the next step afterwards.
All right, that's good. That's good. Two-way communication. Now, moving on to the next question. As the MUISS Secretary, do you have any new initiatives or improvements that you would like to implement for your term to strengthen the secretary role next year?
Okay, maybe I will focus more on organizing and stuff, because like as you mentioned before, like the master file things and some of the event planning stuff is not really working quite well now. So maybe I'll focus more on that, such as the OB training for events, especially so they know what they should do and stuff like that. And also maybe I will implement like some files. I'm still quite not sure. Maybe it's like Google Drive or Google Sheets that holds every important documentations for every event that can be accessible to every student. No, not every student. I mean like every committee, to ensure that it will stay organized and everyone can know what's the latest update for each event. And it's like being organized, so you won't have to find it like quite hard, you know.
All right, that's good. Now, for a follow-up question to that, we actually do have a centralized Google Drive for everything. So that is how MUSA works as well, in which one division, such as MUISS, have for each year have a centralized Google Drive for the whole division. However, with these type of drive as well, because MUISS is a big organization, each division also have their own quote-unquote centralized master file or master sheet that they use. An example could be media. They have 2 trackers plus one more additional that they might implement. And then for secretary, they have department agendas. And then for events, we have master files for each events. Now, how are you going to, let's say, manage all of these systems all in once? And how are you trying to implement a more quote-unquote centralized system or more accessible system for all divisions to access, as their own divisions have kind of an access point for their own subcommittee, but it's kind of can be disjointed between other divisions as well?
Okay, so maybe for our main Google Drive, we can give like kind of shortcuts for each small centralized drive that each division also have. By doing that, we can still access the same documents from the same Google Drive links, while they also have their own Google Drive. So like it's like connected, you know, you get what I mean? Like they have the same file, but just like give the shortcut to the big Google Drives.
All right, all right. Now I want to move on to a case-based scenario in which this talks about conflict management and conflict resolution between, let's say, 2 MUISS execs, 2 office bearers, in which they have a disagreement and both send you specifically a different version of a message or story that it is contrasting, but you need to handle both sides as you are the secretary and you need to be unbiased. So in that situation, how do you manage this conflict without taking any side?
Okay, so if both of them already gives like their point of views and like it's really quite different, then maybe we should do a mediations where like we have three ways communication between me as the mediator and also for both parties. And once we've identified what's the root cause of like this conflict, maybe we can find the middle ground to like what works best for like both of them.
All right, that's good. Now, in terms of MUISS in itself, while I do say it is a big organization, there's also a lot of people there. And things like these sensitive topics or sensitive arguments in which two office bearers might have a disagreement can easily leak to the public. How are you able to promise that that confidentiality is held within that meeting or mediation meeting without anything leaking out?
Okay, so maybe we can sign like some agreement letter that whatever we discuss in this room right here, right now, can't be accessed to publics and like can't be, being leaked to outside. In that case, and we can also give like consequences if like they broke the agreement letter that they have just signed.
All right, that's really good. That's a really good answer. Now I want to take it more a bit of an extreme. Let's say two MUISS heads have a disagreement on something that is very sensitive, and as the MUISS heads, they are the president, but you are the only one that can mediate. And obviously, as the MUISS heads, everyone will want to possibly have kind of an info on why it's happening. Let's say public display, they do not seem well or do not integrate well together. How would you be able to resolve that conflict fast while not letting it marinate just so it can, let's say, because the conflict is too complex to let it end in one day, but how would you able to extend during that extended period of time be able to uphold that confidentiality of all times?
I think it works the same for MUISS heads since like they're the heads. They should probably know better about confidentiality and stuff, right? But in that case, yeah, we can also do the agreement letter and stuff like that. And for let's say they don't look good in public, like they really look like they're fighting and stuff like that. Maybe I can be the one that like talk to each of them one by one to be like, okay, maybe just like be more, yeah, official in front of like the public. Don't make it really obvious that you guys are having conflicts right now. In that case.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. All right. One last question. Another take on not the MUISS head, but conflict resolution. Let's say you receive a student complaint about a MUISS event that involves sensitive criticism of an executive. Now, how would you report it while maintaining discretion and fairness?
Sorry, can you repeat the
Okay.
last part?
So let's say this is after an event. You receive a student complaint or maybe even subcommittee complaint regarding sensitive criticism of an executive or the executives itself, the whole executive team. How would you report it while maintaining discretion and fairness for both sides?
Okay, maybe I'll discuss more about this with the heads first, because like I think if it's regarding to the executives, then it must be something very serious, right? And as the executives, we have to make sure that everyone is aligned with our working. So if they just criticize us for not being aligned with what they think, maybe we can consider whatever that they're trying to criticize, and like give solutions that works best for like both of us.
All right, great answer. And that's all from my side. Thank you so much for your answers, Ain.
All right, thank you, Vera. All right, so thank you again. So now we would like to hand it over to the live questions, the live Q&A segment for audiences. I think we can get the mic. Sorry, one moment. We have a mic to. Oh.
Okay. Okay, Kain, I think you did a great job in answering your questions, and congratulations on making yourself up there and having the debate. Now, I would like to ask you some questions. I may not know if this was touched or covered yet, but I don't know if you are aware, but according to our constitution, as the MUISS heads will not be available, you as a secretary would have to be the advocate and take up the role. May I know, in just a simple answer, is that how would you take that role up and how would you advocate when the MUISS heads are not available? It can be a scenario. There is no right answer to this. I just want to know what steps you would take as the MUISS secretary.
Okay, thank you for the questions. If let's say I'm just gonna do a simple scenario for
Okay.
for it to be easier for us to understand.
All right.
Okay, so let's say we're trying to do adjustment on um, budgeting. Let's say, okay, maybe and like at that moment, the MUSA is like currently not available, and as a secretary, I would probably step up and just like think the best way of like what's the best step of those budgeting things. Is it like does it make sense, or like the adjustment of like they're doing, will it actually works for these events and something like that. And after like give good reasonings, and like maybe when I'm sure myself that like my decision that I make is good, and I will take the decisions.
Okay. In that case, in your particular scenario, would you want to also like wait for the MUISS heads to be back when they're available to take their advice and their opinion, or no?
Yeah, of course. But like if let's say the case is like very urgent and like needs immediate answers or like actions, then maybe I'll just like do the action myself, and then I will inform them about the changes that or like the updates that I've made to the team. But if it's not really urgent or like can be wait, of course I will ask the moose heads for their opinion as well, and then like we'll discuss it together. What's like the um best solutions that we can provide for the scenario.
Okay, I would just like to know, since what how we have been running, we always foster like open communication with other office bearers as well. In your particular scenario, would you like to take other office bearers' opinions, or would you, as you are the advocate, since MUISS heads aren't available, would you take that decision yourself?
I think it depends on the case itself. For like, let's say about budgeting, right? I don't really think that the OB for other division really understand that matters. But if it is related to their matters as well, then maybe of course I will ask for like their opinions as well. But if it's nothing related with their divisions, I think it's not really their voices of course matters, but like it doesn't really affect what decision should I make further, because like they don't really know like what situations that we really face right now. But like yeah, of course I'm open to other opinions from other people, but like yeah.
Okay, okay, I understand. All right, good answer. Now I would like to move on to the MUISS newsletter, which falls under your job scope as well. I would like to know if you are aware about the MUISS Chronicle, which is our newsletter for the year.
Yeah.
Okay, so okay, so
Sorry,
MUISS.
just maybe two more questions. Is that
All right.
right?
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Sure. Sure. So I would just like to know is that how would you want to? Is there anything you would want to improve according to this newsletter? And in terms of picking your subcommittee, would you like to pick anyone directly linked to working for this newsletter or not?
Maybe if it gets too overwhelmed, or like um, I can't really handle it, because like let's say I have another important task that I have to do, then maybe I'll take someone for me to work with the newsletter as well. For
Okay.
implementations, I can't think of any right now, but maybe I'll discuss it later.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. That's all from me.
Thank you.
Okay, I think there is one more question from the YouTube live. So the question states this. You mentioned that you have been working in PPI for a while, and so the question comes in a few parts. What has been the toughest challenge you faced? How did you overcome it? and how can this be applied
Oh, and
in
by
the
the way,
role, in
right,
the secretary
Eric
role
told
that you
me
are running
about the
for?
constitutional
So I think I'll
change
just
of
repeat again.
2014,
So speaking of the PPI role
MUCA,
that you've been
and what
working,
were to
what has been the
debate,
toughest
right?
challenge that you
I
faced
still
in
have
that
a
role?
feeling against
And
that.
then how can you overcome it and how can the lessons
Hmm?
be applied to your secretary role?
Yeah, and that idiot was gonna say it in his
Okay, thank you
debate.
for the question. For the toughest challenge as
It
secretary,
should be all hands on
I
deck.
don't really think I've faced anything that really serious at this moment, up till right now. But like maybe it's something related to communications, especially with the HOD or like the OB for PPI. Cause like right now we're currently doing our weekly meeting for the OBs, and like we have the tracker for them to update about like what does their subcom do this whole week. And sometimes we can understand that the OB might be very busy or like they tend to forget to fill that form, uh, resulting when we're doing our weekly meeting, the sheets are still empty and like we don't know what updates, especially when like they're also unable to join the meeting itself. And how do I overcome this kind of situations? I will actually just like directly message the HOD or the OB itself, and then like I will ask them what are the updates that you guys have for this week, and after so I can just like put it myself inside the Google Sheets that we have. And how can it be applied to my role as a secretary in MUISS? I think it works the same thing because like as Farrell mentioned before, one of the challenges that they face is also about updating stuff because like they tend to forget or like they just don't think it's really important and stuff like that. Maybe I will just do the same thing as a MUISS secretary.
All right, thank you. So I just wanted to check from the audience here physically, are there any more questions? All right, I'll take that as a no. Okay, so I'll just pass it back to the candidate now for the closing statements.
Okay. Thank you everyone for listening to my debate. I'm so honored to have your support for MUISS Secretary, and I just want to know that I just want to let you know that I'll make sure if I get chosen, I'll be someone that you can rely on, and I'm confident that I can help make MUISS a better place for all of the students, especially international students. Thank you.
Okay, thank you once again to the candidate, office bearer, and the audience for your time and participation in this session. So we hope that you found this session both insightful and engaging. So before we end, here are some important dates to remember. The voting period will take place between the 13th of October to the 17th of October 2025, and the vote will take place via the official Monash e-voting platform, and more details will be shared soon. To stay updated, follow us on the MUSA Instagram, and also you can view the debates via the MUSA YouTube channel. So thank you once again for joining us and have a great day.